All right.
Is it?
We are live on
Okay.
Facebook and I'm going to press record. Here we go. And we're on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on Dela's Voice. Today, I have the pleasure to speak to my friend Ahmad Shah. Thank you so much for coming on again, Ahmad. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Well, the pleasure is mine. Thank you for inviting me, and thank all your viewers and listeners. I hope that we are going to create a lot of interest so that they will stay with us until the end of
Well,
our
I tell you what, I think the interest is there, Ahmed. I speak to a lot of people, and everybody is super stressed these days.
Mhm.
And so I think it's a good time to bring this topic on. And I know that I can count on you to bring so much information and to shed some light on this subject of stress.
Do-
After all, you have
Oh
a
yeah,
book.
there it is. Okay, so you are. Let me share you so that people.
Yes, the more people can watch us tonight, the better. We are talking about simple strategies for stress management. Ahmed Shah has a book
Yes,
out, and it's called The Leadership Zone. And
yeah.
chapter 8 of that book is dedicated to stress management. Thank you. Oh, yes, I should show mine too because I have this
Oh,
book
oh
as
yes,
well.
yeah. You have now.
By
You
the way,
have
you
a copy.
never signed it for me, which I should get you to do next time I
Yeah, I
see you.
wonder. I wonder why.
I escaped. So Ahmed, I wanna start by a simple question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, what is the definition of stress?
Very, very interesting. There is a technical definition of stress, and and if I share with you my screen, I will show it to you.
Do it.
Yes. So here, do you see it?
1 second. Let me see. Yes.
So it says the dictionary definition of stress is a state in which a strong demand is made on the nervous system. But this is most probably a technical definition of the stress. And what I would like to talk about is that stress is a phenomenon that um, every living organism should experience it. In my seminars and workshops, I ask people, if you had zero stress, how will you feel?
Hmm.
And they say that, well, if we have zero stress, we will be dead.
It's true, isn't it?
Yes,
So I want to actually go back to your book because in your book you actually compared stress to blood pressure, which I
yes,
thought was really interesting. So could you elaborate on
yeah,
that
sure.
for our listeners?
So like if the blood pressure was zero, also we will be dead. And if the blood pressure goes very high, also we could be either sick or even die. So there is an optimum level of blood pressure for us where the high is 120, the low is 80, or around that figure. Another example of stress is like a string instrument of music, like a guitar or a rabab or a sitar or something. So
Interesting. Yep.
when the stress on the string is very low, no matter how much you strike it, it won't make the sound. And if you increase the stress, it will snap.
True.
So there is an optimum level of stress for human performance. Each individual has a different variation of it, but we all perform at a certain level of stress to the maximum. When the stress is lower than that, we don't perform well, and when it is higher, also we don't perform well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
So
we need a certain amount of stress in our lives to thrive.
that's correct. That's
Okay.
correct. It is
Okay.
to keep us alive.
To
Let's
keep
put
us
it.
alive.
Yeah.
Yes, to keep us alive.
The the other
Um,
the
yeah.
other myth that I want to talk about stress is that not all stress is bad. When we experience stress in the range that is appropriate for our performance, that is good stress. When it is above that level or when it's below, it becomes bad. Yeah. They have done studies and they have found out that if a person gets married, could experience as much stress as if a person has a death in the family.
Interesting.
Okay, so the only thing is that our brain then distinguish between one stress being stress of loss, the other one is a stress of gain. But in
Mhm.
terms of its impact on our body um, organs, is similar.
Wow. So our body
Mm.
doesn't know the difference between good stress or bad stress.
At a certain level, it won't. But as I explain in my book, human being is constantly moving in either in a state of expansion. They are either expanding or they are contracting.
Yes.
And those are two forms of stress. Let's look at it. So there are certain activities that when we are involved in it, we enjoy it and we like it and we want to do more of it.
Right.
We are in a state of expansion.
Expansion. Yes.
And when we do it beyond the appropriate level of time, we kind of contract. We go into a state of contraction and our body changes actually. When we are in a state of expansion, our head is high, our chest is forward, we do deep breathing, our shoulders are pulled back. But when we are in a state of contraction, uh, we drop, we kind of in a drooping state, our head goes down, our breathing changes into shallow breathing, and our shoulders come forward and the chest recedes.
So can can a good stress be the type that causes you to go through expansion? Could that
Yes,
be something like going on a ride at Wonderland?
yes, or you do a rigorous exercise.
Okay. So
Yes,
just so I can understand,
yeah,
in your book, you have a figure, and in it you show this exact comparison between good stress causing us through going through expansion, and also bad stress causing us to go through
yeah,
contraction. And so the arrow, uh, when we are going through expansion, is up towards
yeah,
joy and fulfillment.
yeah. Okay, let me show it on the
Yes, could
screen.
you do that?
Okay, so let me share that with.
Yes, please do that, because it just makes it a lot easier to follow.
Yeah. Okay, so do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the figure that you are looking at. This is actually one of the tools. It's called the Nature's Guidance System, and this was developed by two of my mentors and teachers, Janet Bray Atwood and Chris Atwood, and they actually wrote a book. The title of the book is From Sad to Glad. And this nature's guidance system, they describe it there. And what it is that at the top is joy and fulfillment, and at the bottom is misery and suffering. So when you are in somewhere in the middle, if you are moving towards joy and fulfillment, you are in an area of good stress and you are in a state of expansion. And when you are moving towards misery and suffering, you are in a state of contraction and bad stress. So this is one of the indicator for us when we are involved in any particular activity. This nature's guidance system tells us whether we should stop because it is moving us towards contraction, or we should continue doing it because it's moving us towards expansion. And it's like a traffic light, which also I show. The contraction, the bad stress is like a red light. It tells us stop what you are doing, change your state, go and do something else. So you move into a state of expansion and then come back to this activity. Or it's like a green light and it says, go on, it's safe. What you are doing is good.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
you're saying that our bodies naturally has this ability to guide us, to know, to
exactly.
recognize whether we are going through bad stress or we're going through good stress.
That's correct.
Yay!
Our body also has self-healing properties, and it has self-diagnosis. Actually, the nervous system is a system of communications between different parts of the body. And when there is a pain somewhere, it's the nervous system that will let the brain know that something is wrong in this part. Pay attention to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's move forward. Shall we? Let's talk about, okay, let's say now we're going through a stressful time right now.
Yeah.
With everything that's going on. And we know our body's telling us that we're going through stress.
Some people. What I would say, the vast majority of the people are in a state of contraction. The body
Could you
is
elaborate on that?
Okay, because most of the events around us is created by the way we interpret the news that we hear. The information that comes to us, we process it and we get certain conclusion from it. And one conclusion most people will get is that we are in a state of danger, and that we have to be worried. Some people might think that, oh my God, I might lose my job, I cannot go to work. Some people say, what will happen if I catch this virus? What will be? So those people, when they worry about it, they will be in a state of contraction. There is a small minority of people, however, who think differently. They interpret it differently. They think that, well, based on statistics and based on the science, this virus is no more dangerous than the SARS was, or no more dangerous than the Zika virus was just a couple of years ago, and no more dangerous than the N1H1 that was. And we passed it, and it's no more a news. And one misinformation, or the way people misinterpret it, is that all of this hype and fear that is created is not because the disease is so dangerous, because the virus is dangerous. It is because of the way it is spread. And a lot of the restrictions that is put on our activities is to flatten the curve. And to flatten the curve has nothing to do with one individual catching the disease or two individuals. It is that the health system here will not be able to cope with if there are tens of thousands of people who have the virus and they resort to go to the hospitals and to the clinics, etc. And as a result, what will happen is, if that situation develops, most people who have the capabilities will occupy the health system in such a way that those vulnerable people who actually need it will not be able to get the services that they need and deserve. So they might perish. Even now, of the people who caught the disease, thousands and thousands and thousands of those have passed through it, and they are no more sick. So the disease itself is not as dangerous. It's the way it is spread that creates a hype and fear in the society, that then we won't have resources to take care of everybody. That is where, and when they interpret it like that, then they will take whatever science and public health authorities tell them. Take good care of your hygiene, wash your hands, keep the 2 meter distance from other people, and everything will be fine. And if you catch it, go into self-isolation. So these are some preventive steps that people can take. And when you interpret it like that, the situation shouldn't be more stressful. People who wanted to read a book, but they didn't have time, now suddenly they are stuck at home. They should look at it as, oh my God, I can read that book now.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, that's certainly the way I look at it, because I figured, I have so many things that I have to do that I haven't been able to do, that if I am going to be stuck at home for whatever days, then I get a chance to do that. But let's just say that, we got a good handle on all of this, because it keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. And I think a lot of people understand that they have a responsibility, and I would like to think that most of us own up to that responsibility. Let's get back to our topic.
Okay.
We want to show people today simple strategies on how to manage stress. So I would love for you to go through your toolbox with everybody.
So what I did was, maybe I will share again my screen.
Yes, please, because that's a really great figure that you have.
I developed this toolbox when I was writing that chapter on simple strategies for stress management. And it's a toolkit which has 6 different compartments. And number 1 is the nature's guidance system that we went over, where it tells us what we should do. Are we in a state of expansion or contraction? And then each one of them gives us a direction, which direction to move and go, or to stop and do something else. The other one is discipline. Now, most people will think that, how can discipline take care of stress? As a matter of fact, people who are very disciplined, both mentally in their thinking, as well as in their body and physically, they can manage stress very well, because first of all, they will not allow negative thoughts to come to their mind. Second, because they are physically disciplined, they will do certain physical activities that will reduce the impact of stress on them.
So disciplined, so if you have a discipline in any area of your life, it's things that you have made a habit out of. Correct? Like going to bed at a certain time, getting enough, 7 hours of sleep every night, eating 3 meals a day, or whatever it is you are disciplined in. That's what you're talking about, right? Okay.
That's correct. But also discipline in managing your time.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that it is a big one, and it's an important element of managing stress. Is how do we manage? I don't call it time, because time management is the wrong word. We cannot manage time. Time is external to us. It exists in the physical universe, and we have no control over it. But what we can do is, within that time span, we can organize our priorities.
So therefore, making lists, right? Making priority lists, that's really helpful.
Yes. So one of the systems that I talk about is the triage system. Of all the tasks that we have to do, we can triage them, similar to when sick people go to the hospital. They go through the triage process, and then the triage process determines how much time or how fast the doctors should see them. so that there is no pressure on the resources. Similarly, for various tasks, and maybe I can show it here for the viewers, is if you take a sheet of paper and you at the bottom here, you write urgency, like looking at the picture here, and vertically its importance, then each task, and if you take these post-it notes, let me see if the post-it notes, and you write every task on it, and then you stick it. The one which is most important, the urgent, you put here, and that will have priority over the others. Then the next one, which one is more important and urgent, you do it like that. And eventually there will be some elements that are neither important nor urgent, but it is occupying our mind. And if we don't do it, so what?
We have a lot of those.
Exactly. So what?
Yeah.
It will not be done.
Truly.
The other thing in this discipline and priorities management is that most people, they will organize their entire day. Let's say if they work 8 hours, they will plan all the 8 hours. And that is not the correct way or the most effective way of planning your day. What I recommend people that I coach or people who come to my workshops, I tell them is that please, when you have an 8-hour day, plan 6 hours and put 2 hours as a contingency. Because every day some things happen that are not in our control.
No kidding.
Okay, so those 2 hours are left for those things that just come and we must do them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that means by the end of the day, you will be relaxed because whatever you planned, you have done, and you have done extra also.
You know, that's a big topic, Ahmed, and I wish that we would dedicate one talk just to this, if you don't mind, in the future, because I know a lot of people. Yeah, that would be awesome, because I hear this more often than other things, other complaints. I don't have any time. I don't have time. I don't have time. Right? This is a big deal to us.
So they have to triage it. Actually, when they say I don't have time, means that task, the way I have evaluated, is neither urgent nor important.
To them.
Yeah.
Yes.
To them. Otherwise, they will find time for it.
Awesome. Okay, so we'll talk about this topic another time for sure. Okay. All right. So next. In the toolbox.
Okay, so let me go back to the toolbox, and this is good. We are going to be sharing more often. So in the toolbox, the next one are physical tools that we can use to manage stress. And so I have the list here. It starts with deep breathing. Deep breathing is a physical exercise that despite the fact that I don't believe in multitasking, I think deep breathing can be multitasked with other activities.
So sorry, Ahmed, just to cut you off here. So just to make it clear to everybody who's listening, so the toolbox contains 6 tools.
6 compartments. The toolbox has 6 compartments.
And they're numbered.
Nature's guidance system.
Yes.
There is discipline. There is a physical compartment. There is a mental compartment. There is a social compartment and a spiritual compartment. And there are tools in each one of those compartments that we can use to manage stress with them.
Okay. So you were saying about deep breathing.
Deep breathing is a physical tool that we can use. And deep breathing actually makes us relax and makes us think, change our mind very quickly. With deep breathing we can do. We can rest and sleep is another tool that we can. Rest could be take a break. Rest could be take a vacation. Rest could be go for a walk in nature. Then movement and exercise is another physical tool through which we can manage stress. Posture is very important. posture for the people when they are in a drooping position, when their neck is down, there is a lot of pressure on the nervous system in the neck. So there is a particular position that people have to keep their posture. And one thing that actually most parents neglect when they let their children grow is that they don't make them aware of their posture. And that's why some people, when they walk, their face and their head is ahead of their body. That is not a good posture. Some people, their shoulders are completely different. Like there is a particular shape that the spine has to take, how it curves at the neck and how it curves at the lower back. And all of those situations, if they are not considered over time, the nervous system that passes through the spine does not function as properly. And then it does not convey appropriate messages to various parts of the body to act in a certain way. And then pains and illnesses and ailments start showing up.
Okay, everybody, good posture now as you're listening to this talk. Sit up straight.
If I might show that, let me show you. This is, do you see it, the posture?
Yes.
Okay, so this lady is wearing high heels and there is a big pressure on the spine. The curvature of the spine is quite deep. While this one, which is flat, the posture is the correct posture. That means if you use a plumb from the ear, it will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches in front of the what do you call that bone there, the ankle?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I don't remember.
Okay, so that joint.
That's
how it will be. This person, the nervous system is in a most relaxed, appropriate state, while this person is not. But even okay, so in order to keep herself straight, she puts pressure on her spine, on her nervous system. But some people, if they cannot do that, then they will move their head will be in the front. They will move their head ahead of their body. Now, this person, let's say the one with the correct posture, if it is moving forward, every person has a center of gravity. The movement of the body should start from that center of gravity is about 1 inch below the navel, 1.5 inches. So from that position, they can move forward.
Okay.
While the rest of the body stays there. On the other hand, people with not a correct posture, what happens to them is that their head is forward and they're moving forward like that.
Okay, so that's about posture.
Yeah. So to go back to our diagram, the next one as a physical thing is if you have a list of all your accomplishments, either as a PowerPoint or you have all your certificates or your achievements, if you have a list of them, and when you are in a state of contraction, you go and you open that folder and you look at, oh my God, I received this certification, I received this award of excellence, I scored so high in this exam, and my rank in class was this. Whatever achievements you have, if you have a list and you review them, it will suddenly uplift you.
I have a question, Ahmad. Why is this a part of the physical tools?
It is part of the physical tools because you physically create that. It's either a binder, okay? It's either a binder.
Because I would have thought this would go under spiritual or mental, but it's not. You're saying it goes under.
But this is a physical tool.
Okay, that's what you mean. Okay.
And this is what I have. I have here, for example, in my case, my transcript of grades, my degrees, my certificates. When people have given me letters of reference and they have described how great I am, I look at it and say, oh my God, oh, this person thought.
Okay, all right. Okay, for someone else, it could be, you know, an accomplishment like releasing a certain amount of weight. They have been able to make that happen, right, in the past.
So they can have the picture before and after
Right,
as a
right.
PowerPoint on their computer, and they can look at it.
So you're so right. It's so important to have these little things available to us because we forget what we have accomplished. Okay, awesome. Okay, next.
The other one, in the physical one, is diet, the way we eat. So if we look at our body as a temple, the temple is a holy place, and you won't put everything there. You won't use it as a warehouse, dump everything. So if we look at our body as a temple, then we will take the most wholesome things and ingest and eat them.
Okay. Yes, because our body is our temple. Our body is the only one we have. So we need to be able to respect it and give it the best
and take good
foods
care of it
possible.
Yeah. Then there is robust health. For health, there are quite a few things. It's not in chapter 8, but let me show it to you what it is. There are 4 important elements that are required for health, and that's eat well. We refer to diet as one of the physical things. The second one is move well. We have to do proper exercise and posture and movement. We need to rest well, sleep, meditation, relaxation, and then we have to think well. And that's how we communicate with ourselves. Are we using high energy words? Are we using positive thoughts? Am I lost, or are you lost? Let's see what happened. So I think we lost Dela, so we'll wait for her to come. Hello?
So there we go. I think I've got Ahmad back on here. Hi.
Oh,
yeah, so we had a little bit of a disconnection there.
Yeah, so
for some reason, but we're still live.
Okay, so what I said was that anybody who is not healthy, doesn't have a robust health, there is one of those 4 things is not correct, 1 or 2 or more. Either they don't eat properly, or they don't move and exercise properly, or they don't rest properly, or they don't think properly. I've seen many people who do everything else. They eat well, they work well, they rest well, but their mind, their thinking is not appropriate, and they don't have good health.
Yeah, so they all go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you have in the list financial.
Yeah, so just a minute. So financial is also very important, because a lot of stress comes in the especially in the family between spouses, comes from financial and the way we manage it. We don't agree with management. As a matter of fact, in the Western countries, the divorce rate is almost 50%. Like at one time when people get married, they will say that, we are going to stay together until death do us part. But that sentence they still say it, but they don't mean it. What they actually mean it until it's convenient. And when it's not convenient, we separate. And a bulk of those divorces come because of financial mismanagement. So in my book, I have an entire chapter on how to manage their finances and wealth As a matter of fact, if I just share with your viewers, so the way I divide, hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't see my picture, so I don't know what happened.
I see it.
Okay, so that's fine. So there are 4 different compartments of wealth. There is core assets, experiential assets, goodwill assets, and material assets. And what happens is that most people nowadays in the Western world, for whatever pressure is upon them, they focus most of their mind on the material assets, and they ignore the others, the core asset, which is family, heritage, culture, values, unique abilities, the self environment, the mimetic environment. They ignore, they don't put any focus or any effort to improve that. Then there is experiential assets, which is the work and life experiences, the education. Then there is the goodwill assets, which is composed of your credibility, your reputation, your branding, the contribution, and how grateful you are. How do you show your gratitude to yourself, to your family, to your community? And then, so most of the emphasis nowadays is on the material assets, which is your house, your bank account, your stocks, real estate holding, whatever material assets. Yeah, and then I also tell them that as a tool for financial management, this is how they should use. This is recommended by Millionaire Mind Intensive community. And what they're saying is that whatever money you make, 10% of it you should do save. Everybody, considering their conditions, might use different percentages, but let me mention what to do is. So financial freedom, you put aside some money. Long-term savings, if you want to buy, let's say, a TV or a car or a fridge, consumer durables for family, you put aside some money. 10% you use on upgrading yourself, education. 10% you entertain yourself and your family. 5% you give as charity, and you organize your life with 55% for the rest of the necessities. If both husband and wife agree on this formula, this is not just a financial management, it's a relationship management. Then suddenly the stress that comes from financial mismanagement will be resolved. If they both agree on a system like this, then if they want to buy a TV, because the husband wants to watch certain sports or something like that, they don't have to argue where the money comes. They go to that compartment of long-term saving. If there is enough money, they just go and buy it.
Ha! Listen, we're saving marriages here on Dela's Voice. Listen to this. This is good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
This is awesome, Ahmad. Thank you. Oh my gosh. We could spend hours talking about your book. This is amazing stuff. Okay, so going back to our toolbox, Ahmed, we don't have that much time, so I want to make sure that we get through it.
So the others will be quick because the physical are very tangible. People can feel it. The others are okay. The others we can go quickly over. So the mental toolbox is the attitude, is one of them. Do you believe that the universe is a friendly place or it's a hostile place? It will affect our level of stress.
Yes. Is that attitude is everything?
Yeah. If there is, for example, if we are driving and somebody cuts us off on the road, do we get angry? And do we curse them? Do we say bad words? And do we say what a jerk this person was, or etc.? Or do we say that, for our own health and well-being, we say that, well, maybe there was a sick child in the back of the car and was in a hurry. So I'm giving them the opportunity to go, let him save the child.
Save the child.
From verbal Aikido.
Yes, you go through that at your
Yeah.
verbal Aikido. I found that very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the paradigm shift. Expectations. What do we expect from other people? Sometimes we put some people on pedestals, think very highly of them, without thinking that we are all human beings and we all have pluses and minuses. Instead of uh, just supporting them where they're weak and encouraging them to strengthen where they're good. We just focus on the good things that they have, and suddenly, when out of nowhere the bad things show up, we get stressed out. And this happens, when people start courting each other, they focus only on the pluses. Okay, they don't focus on what faults those people might have, what things may not be as good. And then afterwards, after time passes by, we discover that, well, not everything is rosy. There are also some defects in this relationship, in this person. And then we become disappointed and we become stressed.
Yes, yes. Our expectations.
Yeah. Then how we interpret events. There are always multiple interpretations for it. People who are stressed out, you take the worst case scenario and interpret it that way. People who can manage their stress, they will find other more relaxing scenarios to explain the situation.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Mental relaxation is an exercise in my book. So I hope if people are interested, I cannot demonstrate it here, but if they're interested, they could get either a PDF version of the book or order the book from my website.
We'll be sure to again post your website under this post.
And then the other one is sizing. Again, sizing is we sometimes oversize people. We think of them to be much bigger than they are. And then when we realize that they're not as big, this happens when people follow a hero or a leader of a community or a president or something like that. And when they discover that that person actually had connections with some mafia group, then they become disappointed and stressed out.
Okay, that's good.
The next one is social. So social compartment, relationships is one of them. People who have healthy and good relationships, they have a support group. They don't feel as stressed out. They can manage their stress because the moment they are tired and they are in a state of contraction, they resort to their good relationships, and in those relationships they go back to their state of expansion.
Okay, so we need good relationships. We need relationships, connections to keep the stress down.
You might have heard me, but I always tell in my workshops and seminars that the quality of our life depends on the quality of our relationships.
Yes.
And the quality of our relationships depend on our communication skills.
Yes.
So we better need to improve our communication skills so we can build positive relationships, and that becomes a kind of a shield against negative stress.
Yes, yes.
Then there is trust building. When we are trustworthy and we are surrounded by people that we can trust, we will feel very relaxed. But if we don't trust anybody, we'll always be walking on our toes and we will be very stressed out.
Okay.
Better communications, we already talked about. If we also have good networking, if we have a lot of connections with people at different levels, different up, down, on the side, around us, then we can rely on their support. And then a general support system. These are all part of our social safety net, if I might say.
Okay.
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 The sixth one are the spiritual ones, and that is where meditation comes into being. Prayers come into being. A sanctuary. Sanctuary, the way I describe it is that our subconscious mind does not know whether we experience something for real or we just imagine it. So if we have if we have been on a vacation where we were very happy and very relaxed, and we got rid of, we refreshed ourselves, we were not stressed out. If we can relive that mentally and emotionally and spiritually, without going there, we'll go to a state of expansion.
Yes, that's an exercise that Dr. Ajam does every single time during his workshops. Yeah, it's a big part of his visualization. That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's what I do also. Then there is gratitude. People who under every circumstance can show gratitude and that they are grateful, then they will have less stress. You know that the amenities that are available for us ordinary people today in the 21st century, 300 years ago, the kings didn't have. The kings and the queens and the wealthy people did not have. They didn't have running water in their homes. They didn't have electricity. They didn't have refrigerators. They didn't have so much amenities that we all take for granted.
Oh my God, Ahmad, even today, there are so many people in the world who don't have those amenities.
Yes, but even those who have it are also not showing gratitude.
Yes. So can I just, I'm a big believer in gratitude attitude. I mean, it changed my life. The moment I decided that I was going to be more grateful, my whole life, my whole perspective on life changed. I absolutely believe when you have gratitude, you are building your spiritual tool in handling stress. This is my gratitude journal.
Oh, wow.
I write in this, if not every day, most days, and the amount of relaxation that I receive just by bringing my attention to whatever it is I'm grateful for has been priceless to me. So thank you for
so let me finish the other two and then we'll see if there are any questions.
Okay.
The other one is patience. If we are patient, everything, if any adversity doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. If we are patient enough and we ask ourselves which character muscle will become stronger by experiencing this, then our level of stress suddenly drops as a result of that. And then the last one is forgiveness. The last one, a spiritual tool, is to forgive anybody that we think or we perceive have done us any harm. There are three people that we need to forgive. We need to forgive the person who harmed us. We need to forgive those who saw it and didn't do anything. And the third one, and the most important, we need to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
So this is the toolbox that I was talking about, and it's in the book. It's a very comprehensive toolbox, and people who have done even 50% of those things, their life has completely changed.
It's awesome. It's awesome. What is your definition of I want to take you back to one of these tools, just a simple one. And I think you may have done that before, but when we talk about deep breathing, I think you did that before, but can you do a simple demonstration of a deep breathing exercise that can bring instant
So, the best way of deep breathing, there are many different techniques, but the one that I usually tell people is that you breathe in, you inhale from your nose,
Mm-hmm.
and then you inflate the lower part of the lungs so that the tummy will come out, the diaphragm will go down, and you keep it there for about the same amount of time that you are inhaling, and then you use your stomach muscles or your abdominal muscles to take the air out back from your mouth.
Yes.
And you do that. I usually tell people that you should do it 10 times in the morning, 10 times in the evening, and you can multitask. Even when you are driving, you can do that when you are going to work. Or if you want to drive to shopping, you can do the deep breathing. Or if you are cooking, you can do the deep breathing, whatever, wherever. It's very easy to do it.
So this deep breathing
And
method.
when you are deep breathing, your shoulders should not move. The correct way is that your shoulders will not move. It will just be the tummy going out and back in.
As a matter of fact, you can do that anytime you feel stressed.
Mm.
You're in a lineup waiting to pay for your groceries, or in the traffic or wherever, right? You can do the deep breathing.
And if anybody triggers you into anger or something,
yes,
you can do
yes,
deep breathing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can't see any questions here. I'm not sure.
I have a lot of people watching, and there's a lot of comments on here. People have said great information. They love this talk. They're getting a lot of value from this. I know that you have to go because you have another commitment to attend.
Well, actually, it's, we live in Toronto, and in a few minutes it will be Maghreb time, and I'm going to pray. So it's going to be my prayer time in the next 4 or 5 minutes.
That was part of the toolbox in the spiritual section.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So if people think that this appearing as a guest speaker on your show created some kind of contraction or stress through the prayers, it will be disappear. But honestly speaking, I enjoy coming on your show, and I enjoy sharing these tools that I have accumulated over several decades with the people so they can benefit from it.
So I do want to reiterate that during this time when everybody's talking about panic and stress, it's really important to do talks like this.
Yes.
To bring a little bit more awareness of what we can do to make things better for ourselves in our lives. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I think especially people who have kept themselves in self-isolation because of this COVID-19, going to social media and talking with their friends, relatives, and use those social contacts through social media and have a conversation with them is going to help them to, even though physically they are isolated, at least socially they will not be isolated.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I don't want to keep you any longer. I do want to thank you again for being on here. We will continue our talks up and we'll bring more awareness because your book is a gem and it's filled with knowledge. Thank you very much, Ahmad. I really appreciate having you on Dela's Voice. And if there's nothing else, then we'll just say goodbye until next time.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and thank the viewers and the audience for staying with us and listening, and I hope you benefited from it. Join me on social media, on LinkedIn or anywhere. Send me any questions if you have. I'm open to responding to them.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, and take care.
And I wish everyone a good night. Stay safe, be well. And as always, this is Dela, hoping to spark your soul.
Well, be bright and spread light.
Be bright and And spread the
Spread
light.
light.
That's good. And spread the good.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.